r/AskReddit. What myth did a company invent to sell their products? Clover used to be an intentional part of the American lawn prior to WW2. It thrives in poor soil, fixes its own nitrogen and can survive drought conditions, and was deliberately added to assist with the growth of the surrounding grass. One sweet killer came to market post WW2. It wasn't long before chemical companies successfully rebranded clover as a weed. Clover is a broadleaf plant and was unintentionally killed alongside the other unfavorable weeds, so it was successfully removed from the picturesque perfect American lawn by chemical companies. Why grow your own soil regulator for free when we can sell one to you? Without clover or other weeds I have no yard. Dockers invented business casual to sell more khaki slacks and help get men out of wearing suits to work as much. Thank God for that. That vitamin water is healthy. Ironically, Vitamin Water won a lawsuit accusing them of false advertising on the basis that no reasonably intelligent person would believe their product was healthy. Edit. Technically, they didn't win. They settled for changing their branding and paying the legal fees. A counterexample, Wonder Bread was widely mocked for their slogan "Build Strong Bodies 12 Ways," since it was just white bread with some added artificial vitamins. As natural foods became more popular, that was regarded as an advertising myth. However, during the Depression, Wonder Bread prevented pellagra and other vitamin deficiencies among alcoholics who had poor diets, but did eat white bread, and saved tens of thousands of lives in the process. Kellogg's basically inventing a food pyramid to convince the public to eat their garbage for breakfast. That shutty myth persisted for decades. So what you're trying to tell me is that it was a pyramid scheme? Reverse funnel system. Putting some holes in a cardboard box for a pet rock to breathe was one of the most inspired advertising ploys ever. Freaking brilliant. I love advertisement that people know isn't serious. That stuff works. For instance, the left-handed Whopper and Almond Shreddies. Left Twix vs right Twix. Literally any company that claims detoxifying properties. What toxins? Your kidneys do that for you anyway. Skechers Shape-Ups made your ass more tone and bigger. I bought the Reebok shoes that claimed to do this a year or so later. I got a check in the mail for I think around $30. Apparently they lost a class action lawsuit that the shoes didn't do what they claimed. The tradition of diamond engagement rings by the De Beers Company. Every kiss begins with slaves. I believe it was Lysol that created the myth that vaginas aren't self-cleaning and you need to douche them out. Otherwise your husband will leave you or whatever. Seriously, look up some of the old ads. It's absolutely bananas the type of stuff they were claiming. Not only unnecessary, but extremely detrimental health-wise. And a lot of people still believe that shit. Similarly, Johnson & Johnson marketed talc powder to keep women dry down there, as if your labia and company were supposed to be bone dry at all times. Turns out talc may cause ovarian cancer. People gave me a bunch of talcum powder at my baby shower. Do you know what happens to powder when it gets wet? It cakes to the skin. So now you are scraping urine-soaked rock dust off your kid when you change them. No thanks. The slogan "More doctors smoke Camels," implying that Camel cigarettes were some sort of healthy cigarette recommended by doctors. I have an old cigarette tin that advertises, especially designed for sore throats. Menthol. They were originally marketed to sick people. My grandpa used to tell me the story of how he was friends with the guy who created the beverage Talking Rain. The sparkling water became very popular in the 90s and came in a bottle with the story of how the native people of the area found a bubbling spring that seemed to talk as rain fell into it or something. This magical water became the source for Talking Rain. But that was all, of course, just a lie the guy made up to sell carbonated tap water to idiots. Talking Rain.
Some stay dry and others feel the pain.
Leans away from the mic to breathe. Alka-Seltzer increased sales by changing the recommended dose to 2 tablets instead of 1. The famous Plop, Fizz marketing campaign was only to increase sales, not based on real medical advice. I'd stop going to the doctor who advises a Plop Fizz. Mentioning J.D. Power Awards in an ad means something to you as a consumer. J.D. Power and Associates rated best car in initial quality. That literally means that the car seems nice at first. Super late to the game, but Ivory soap. So pure it floats. They whip air into the mixture, it has nothing to do with purity. So cheap it floats. That my sea monkeys were going to be my new friends. Food companies, practically anything. Fat is not as bad as we thought, sugar is worse than we thought. Guess who helped make that misunderstanding? How about recent articles that came out suggesting coconut oil is bad for you? Same deal. Look at who writes these papers. I always find a conflict of interest somewhere down the line. Nutella told people their products were a healthy alternative. In 2011 I received a notice that I might be eligible as a member of a class action lawsuit because of Nutella's healthy alternative advertising. I filled out the card saying that yes, I had purchased 3 Nutella jars in my region between X and X date, and mailed it in. 3 years later I received a $12 check in the mail with a letter saying this was my settlement. I deposited the check and bought $12 of Nutella to celebrate. That your teeth are supposed to be FFFFFF white. All cosmetics company claiming male and female need a different soap, shampoo, razor. Lately some even tried to apply the gendered marketing to yogurt, toothpaste, handkerchief or pens. Rinse and repeat on shampoo bottles was designed to sell more shampoo. I poo in the shower, I will not fall into the trap that is big TP. The amount of toothpaste you use when brushing. You don't have to fill the bristles of the toothbrush. Only pea-sized as needed. Commercials shows it more than needed so they can sell more products. It's also funny because the directions say to use a pea-size amount. Diamonds are forever. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. 2 months salary. McDonald's says it sells ice cream. It's probably an urban legend, as I can't find a source for it online, but I remember reading about a company that sold canned tuna advertising its product as being guaranteed not to turn black in the can. Of course, tuna would never turn black in the can, but by saying it won't, it implied that competing brands did sell tuna that turned black in the can. That oranges are loaded with vitamin C. There's more vitamin C in a bell pepper than in an orange. Sure, but if I want a snack, am I going to peel an orange or bite into a pepper? Edit, I'm slowly being convinced to bite into a pepper as a snack. I love to start my morning with a big glass of bell pepper juice. I hear soda companies switched from glass to plastic as a cost-saving measure, claiming they were more convenient as you can just throw them away rather than bringing the bottles back for cleaning and refilling. They then blamed consumers for all the additional plastic trash. The Disney fault. Not a single company as far as I know, but the myth that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Prior to this, people generally had something small like a piece of toast, if anything. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, just about any Hallmark holiday. Well, I wouldn't quite call it a myth, but Tang, a company that sold fruit-flavored drinks, is responsible for the mispronunciation of the word orangutan thanks to them using an orangutan as their mascot. Now many people incorrectly pronounce it as orangutan, which I guess counts as free product placement for them. I drank Tang because the astronauts drank it. It was a big deal to me in the 60s. The colorful flowers in your yard are actually terrible weeds. Spray toxic chemicals on your property weekly. The inventors of OxyContin tried to convince the public that it was a addictive-free version of oxycodone. They blatantly lied and were sued for like $500 mil a while back. Razor companies ran ad campaigns to get the public to see women's leg and underarm hair as unhygienic and gross so they could sell razors to women, too. Now it's so deeply ingrained in our culture I cannot imagine it ever having been normal for women to have leg hair. I just read about this in a book a couple months ago. The man who invented toothpaste deliberately put in mint and other flavors along with a chemical that causes your gums to tingle so that when you wake up in the morning you crave the mint and the tingling feeling on your gums. That is why your mouth feels atrocious if you do not brush every morning. Not a myth per se, but they sold a product that perpetuated itself forward as people used it more and more. Women love the smell of an entire can of Axe body spray, which was believed by every teenage boy for years. They also used to give those trial-sized cans out by the fucking case in middle and high school. Our entire locker room always reeked of that shit because we would take full cans of it and slap them with our track spikes and they'd shoot off across the locker room like a rocket. They also made amazing flamethrowers. Our locker rooms were like Baghdad back in the day. Axe bombs are all fun and games until you're taking a shit and a can of Dark Temptation rolls under the stall. Why even bother to shower when you can just use an entire can of chocolate scented spray?